The top 11 most craziest knockouts that you have to see. 2020 was a year of many things, with ESPN turning to the world of pro wrestling, the WWE Draft 2020, and WWE 2K Battlegrounds coming out. 2020 was also a year for WWE fans and MMA junkies. Wrestling is fun to watch with all the action and drama that is going on screen. And all those crazy knockout scenes, fighters are just falling off like a chopped log. It happens almost all the time in a fight. It's one of the ways to win a match. WWE 2K Battlegrounds review may have been bad, but that doesn't mean we hate wrestling. There is a thriving fan base for wrestling and fighting. We've made a list of some of the most creative and ingenious knockouts of recent times, which will always be there on the highlight reels. If you're an MMA junkie, grab your popcorn and get ready. This video is just for you. Hey everybody, welcome to the Top 11, home with the most amazing Top 10 and Top 11 content. Today we're going to go over the top 11 most craziest knockouts that you have to see. We've made a top 11 from our Fight Night picks, UFC, NXT highlights, and WWE Raw highlights today. Make sure to watch until number 1 because it is one of the craziest knockouts that I've ever seen. If you're new to this channel, make sure to smack down the subscribe button for more useful information and true learning. Number 11. Brian Ortega versus the Korean Zombie. Ortega versus Korean Zombie took place at UFC Fight Island on October 17. It was the main event out of a total of 5 matches in Abu Dhabi, Jazz Island. It was a classic grudge match between Brian T. City Ortega and Chan Sung Jung, aka the Korean Zombie. And here's how it went down. The real story of the night was Ortega's newly discovered striking game. He kept Jung off balance all night. According to Luke Thomas from Morning Combat, Ortega maintained an advantageous range, disguised offense, and took some calculated risks. In the second round, Brian Ortega landed a beautiful spinning back elbow that sat Jung down. He quickly bounced right back up to his feet. Ortega owned the ring, absolutely dominating it from bell to bell, and he won by a landslide in the judges' scoreboards. This was one of the best contests of UFC Fight Island 6. Now comes the top 10 of our most amazing top 10 list. Number 10. Jeff Hardy versus Elias. Here's an interesting one from the WWE Raw highlights. In this one, we can see Jeff Hardy climb up the ring rope and reach up to grab a guitar. Hold on guys, why on earth would someone grab a guitar during a fight? Maybe he wants to sing some tunes, or maybe not. Clearly, Jeff Hardy had some other ideas. He grabbed the guitar, jumped off the rope, and finished off Elias with that guitar. What an ingenious way to knock out opponents. Maybe What a Culture WWE and What a Culture Wrestling will have a lot to say about this. Number 9. Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spann. And we're back in Vegas on September 20th's UFC Fight Night. Johnny Walker versus Ryan Superman Spann. What really happened in this fight? The fight was a quick first round knockout where it was a bit back and forth. Walker stunned Spann a few times, and Spann almost knocked out Walker a few times. Walker goes into a full-on offense mode and completely loses his technical approach. Despite his lack of defensive abilities and the knockdowns, Walker came back to win the match, ending the fight with some relentless hammer fists on Ryan Spann. We thought Spann would win this match, or Walker would pull off a Guram Kukatalatse and say that he should have lost. But still, Walker deservedly won this match. Number 8. Daniel Rodriguez versus Dwight Grant. This time, it is from Las Vegas. We watch as the D-Rod Daniel Rodriguez takes on Dwight Grant, aka the Body Snatcher. The welterweight division fight had at least a couple of knockdown moments. First, we get to see both of them trying to get their foot position just right so they can land a blow. Then we get to see the Body Snatcher landing some hammer fists on Daniel Rodriguez's head as he falls to the ground. Daniel struggles to defend his head while also trying to stay in the fight. Finally, Rodriguez gets back on his feet and faces Grant head-on, who's now tired and disoriented from all the hammer fisting. This gave D-Rod an advantage, who later finished the match by knocking down Grant. Number 7. Drew McIntyre versus The Miz. Drew McIntyre is focused on reclaiming the WWE Championship from Randy Orton. He is prepared to defeat anyone who steps in the way. After The Miz attempted to cash in his Money in the Bank contract in the evening, a claymore from McIntyre awaited him. The Miz and John Morrison played to their numerical advantage throughout the match. Still, the Scottish superstar proved up to the challenge. McIntyre delivered one more shattering claymore to The Miz. Still, Randy Orton had a final word with an RKO on McIntyre to end the night. Moving on to the next one on our amazing top 10 list. Number 6, Said Nurmagomedov versus Mark Striegel. Said Nurmagomedov recorded his third win in the UFC emphatically. He knocked out Mark Mugen Striegel with a ground and pound just 51 seconds into their bantamweight contest. Whoa, that ground and pound was more brutal than the ones we see in street fights. Mark Striegel had talked this week of living a dream as he prepared to make his UFC debut. But the Filipino-American Mugen suffered a nightmare 51-second TKO against Said Nurmagomedov in the bantamweight opener Sunday's UFC Fight Island 6 preliminaries. After suffering a first-round TKO, Striegel headed straight to the hospital. This fight was definitely no Lomachenko versus Lopez. If you've watched Lomachenko versus Lopez live, you know what I'm talking about. Loma versus Lopez had all kinds of punches, but it had no knockouts. Let's move on to the top 5, shall we? Here comes the top 5 list. Number 5, Khamzat Chimaev versus Gerald Meerschaert. Here's one crazy knockout for the Khamzat Chimaev highlights reel. The fight began with Chimaev and Meerschaert going right at each other. But right away, Chimaev applied immediate pressure and threw a front kick. Chimaev continued to stalk and got the native of Wisconsin against the cage and threw a picture-perfect straight right hand to knock Meerschaert out on his feet and dropped him to the canvas. Chimaev followed up 2 right hands before referee Mark Smith stepped in to stop the fight. Khamzat Chimaev showed all his power by putting his rival Gerald Meerschaert to sleep in just 7 seconds since the start of the fight. Wow, you wouldn't want to be at the end of the fist. Khamzat Chimaev is a force to be considered in the middleweight division. Number 4, Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Thiago Tavares. Now let's take a look at a fight between the Russian submission specialist Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov versus Thiago Tavares. Tavares was the fan favorite that night in Sao Paulo, chasing his first 3-win streak of his UFC career. The fight started with Tavares controlling the ring and dominating the match. Khabib was running out of space inside the octagon. Later, Khabib charged forward and regained his position. The two guys throw fists at each other for some time until Tavares fails to get a combination going. Nurmagomedov takes advantage and lands an uppercut on Tavares' face, which knocks him down. Number 3, Yair Rodriguez versus the Korean Zombie. This is a kind of a knockout that we've seen in the past. But how could we leave it off the list? We're talking about the phenomenal finish between Yair Rodriguez and the Korean Zombie. The Korean Zombie was fighting efficiently in all rounds. He was winning in the judges' scoreboards, only to get wiped off by Rodriguez, who pulled off an incredible blind elbow. They just had to give the fans that final show. Bet UFC News had a lot to report about this. Number 2, Nico Price versus James Vick. We, of course, have to include an upkick, and this one is just mind-blowing. We're talking about the upkick landed by the Nico Price in the face of James Vick in the UFC last year. Man, it sucks to lose like that. Vick had him down on the floor, landing great punches from above with his long reach. But he let go of one of Price's legs and paid the ultimate price. This was his 4th consecutive loss, and he became the 2nd fighter in UFC history to take an upkick knockout. Vick told MMA Junkie before this match that another loss would spell the end of his UFC tenure. Number 1, Joaquin Buckley versus Impaka Sakanami. Joaquin Buckley knew matters had gone a little bit mad after his knockout of Impaka Sakanami went viral. Joaquin Buckley's knockout was so epic. Fans claim it was one of UFC's best knockouts ever seen. His crazy knockout took the host city Abu Dhabi by storm. The fight was supposed to be between Abu Azayatar and Joaquin Buckley, but due to undisclosed reasons, Azayatar was replaced by Sakanami. Middleweight underdog Joaquin Buckley, aka Numanza, shocked the MMA world with a crushing spinning kick to the face of favorite Impaka Sakanami, who made the ill-fated decision to catch one of Buckley's kicks and hold onto his heel. Buckley spun with his left foot in the air and caught Sakanami with an audacious spinning kick, knocking him out before he fell on the canvas. The underdog Buckley flipped over the UFC predictions by winning the fight with that audacious kick. Well, that's it for today's video. We hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the Top 11 YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our amazing videos. Check out this playlist of my personal favorite videos on this channel about some really crazy and interesting clips of the best Top 11 videos on YouTube. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.